Okay, you guys, I'm super, super excited. Courtney, we've been really excited. As soon as I announced this, people were like, oh my gosh. And it's so funny, Courtney, because, okay, first you have to tell me, how long have you been in?
It'll be 5 years next month.
5 years. Okay, so this is when I remember meeting Courtney, is we were in the top 100 at conference and we were right beside each other, I feel like for 2 years in there. And so I just started chit-chatting with her. And I think from then on, Courtney, I've been like cheering you on. I just love that you have literally never, ever wavered. And obviously you've been in for 5 years. I've been in for 7. Like we all know people can come and go, or there's people that are telling you their opinions and all that kind of stuff. And that's just one thing I loved, is you've just stayed true to yourself. And you are such a great example. You show up every single day. And so just a little bit about her. I'm going to let her really introduce herself. But that's how we got to meet. And so I've always, like, I am not shy. My team knows, like, I will ask questions. I love learning from other people, that type of thing. And so one thing that I've always loved about you is, if I ask you something, or I ask like, hey, how are you doing this, or whatever it is, it's like you're always so excited to help out or even give tips. But you guys, she started this business when she was 19 years old and she was going to school full time. And since she started, she has always been in the top 100 income earners, which that just speaks volume, because you guys, that doesn't happen by luck. Like that happens by consistently working super, super hard and keeping your mindset right, because it's not always easy. And so I love that about you. And then just this last year for 2018, she was announced as her team is a top 5 income earners. So super awesome, Courtney. I'm proud of you. Congratulations for all of that. And I know that they're like ready to soak up everything that you have to offer. We always say like, hey, follow the right cats, right? And I'm like, so you're definitely one of them that I'm always like, she has good content. Like she's not salesy. She's genuine, all those types of things. So they're excited to soak everything up that you're going to share tonight. So just tell us a little bit about you, where you were at in life when you found ItWorks, why you started, and kind of what it has done for you.
Okay, yeah. So it's just so crazy. It's been 5 years. Like I don't know. That's just so insane. Like I don't know. It feels like I started like yesterday. So it's been like the best 5 years ever. It's just flown by. But so yeah, I was 19 at the time when I started. I was living with my parents, and I really wanted to move out for college, but I just couldn't afford to. So I was just applying to nursing school at our like community college that was like pretty close to us. And so just like start, like I'm from a super small town, like our town literally has like 300 people in it. So I really felt like the odds were kind of against me when I started this business, and had like all the fears, creeping in my mind of like why this business wouldn't work for me and everything. So I watched for like a while. And then finally, like it was just one day it just clicked, and I was like, you know what? Like I was watching this girl literally daily, and I was like, it's changing her life. Like I'm just gonna try it. And like as a college student, I was like, if I could just make like $200, like that would be amazing. And so it's actually really crazy to like think back on it now, because at the time, so I was trying to get into nursing school, and all I had to do to get into the program here was to just pass this test. And I took this test 3 times, and I failed every single time. And like I've never been good at school. Like I've always been like the blonde girl and like the dits and like I've just never been like, I don't know. I was used to always tell my mom, I'm like, I'm just so dumb at school. Like I've just always felt that. And so I just felt like just such a failure at that time, because I was like, like that, I thought I was doing what I needed to do to be successful in life. Let's go to college, get that job, and, do all those things. And so I just remember just being so devastated, because I just was like, why am I like, I'm trying this like so hard, and I'm just like failing. Like, what am I going to do with my life, kind of thing. And then I actually decided to apply to a different program. And I got an interview for this program, and only like a few people got this interview. So I went to the interview, and during this time I had just started this business while all of this was happening. So really not expecting much, of the business or anything. Didn't even know what it could do for me. Literally just like was like, maybe I'll make some money. I don't really know. And so I went to this interview, and literally on my way back from the interview, I hit the car bonus, which was like the $600 extra a month on your paycheck for just like enrolling a ton of customers. And so like I just remember that and being super excited about that. And then like a couple days later, I found out like I didn't get in that program either. So once again, just like, wow, like what am I going to do with my life? Like, I don't know. I just felt very stuck. And so anyways, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go to Mizzou, the University of Missouri, and just get like my 4-year degree in health science. So that was like my next goal of I guess I'll just do that until I kind of figure out like what I want to do exactly. And so through all that, I had just started this business, and honestly, you guys, I had no idea what network marketing was. Like, I've heard of like, some companies like growing up, like Mary Kay, stuff like that, like my aunts would do, but definitely never knew it could be like a life-changing opportunity whatsoever. Didn't know you could even make like money, like, and so I joined, and I was the girl that was like, I'm gonna create a brand new Instagram account because I don't want to tell anybody I know about this because I don't want to be judged. And so I was that girl that like you were just like, no, don't do that. Like, basically I did everything you shouldn't do when you start this business. That was me. And thankfully I didn't have high expectations of where it would take me. So like I was just going, I was just like, I'm just gonna do this. Like, I'm excited, I'm gonna be consistent. And so that's exactly what I did. I was like the most consistent person from day one, like posted every single day. I remember my enroller like would just watch me, Ashley Murph, and she would just be like, is everything going good? Like, it looks like you're doing so well. Like, but you're, I'm just not getting results. And so finally, you guys, like my first month, I made like 20 something dollars. And I was like really excited because I didn't think I would actually make money with this. Like, I literally just had no intentions of it going anywhere. And so that like really pumped me up because I was like, wow, like I actually made like legit money. And when you're 19 and you're broke and you're living with your parents, $20 is great. So basically that's kind of was like, okay, like I'm just going to keep doing it. And so finally, like my second month, I really just caught onto the vision of like where this can take you. I remember like dialing into my first call because it's when you would like call into calls like on your phone. And I just remember listening to this girl and she was making like $17,000 a month. And I was like, what? Like, you can make that much money in this? Like, I just thought that was so crazy. And I remember getting like, in my starter kit, they had like the income ranks. And I was just like, wow. Like, I remember looking at it and like telling one of my friends, like, where you could take a business like this. And I was like, they must be just like, I don't know, like magical people. Like, I can only imagine the people at the top and like how, they must have started when the business was new, whatever. So just kept going, you guys. And then a few months, I just like caught on and I was excited and I actually realized what I had my hands on. And so instead of not telling everyone what I was doing, I went out and I started telling everyone I was excited. And I just told literally everybody that I didn't start with that I should have from the beginning. And that's when things just got really, really crazy and it just started growing insanely. So that, and then my social media started to really take off since I was so consistent from like day one. And so let's see, I went diamond in 9 months, and then at 1 year went prez. So like I triple promoted come the new year. So during this time, so I went that diamond is like in December, and then it was like January through February is when I triple promoted. So it was like from diamond to like, wow, like crazy. And then 1 year later I went ambassador. And so I went to school full time all the way up until literally the month that I was planning on going ambassador. And because I was like, I'm doing it, like I need all my attention on this. And I think how old was I? I think I was 20 when I went ambassador. So wow, like it's just been a crazy journey. And so now 5 years later, what this business has done for me, it's so crazy. Like it was just like those small things that at first that obviously got me really excited because I was so excited about that $20 extra a month. And then I was excited about filling up my gas tank. And then excited about moving out of my parents' basement and moving to Columbia to go to a university. And then what it actually allowed me to do is I moved to Columbia and I got a job for 2 days and I was an Emerald at this time. And I hated that job and I was like, I'm just going to do this thing full time. And so that's kind of what gave me that also like that extra boost to just really go for it. Because it wasn't a matter of like if it's going to work. It was like, well, it has to work. Like it's going to pay my bills. And so I quit that job. And then that's really what I think gave me like that next like boost of like, okay, let's do this thing. And so yeah, let's see. I've been doing it now full time since I was Emerald, and I love it so much. It actually I paid my way through school entirely. So when I was done with school, was completely debt free from that. Purchased my own home, which was like insane. I think I was like 21 or 22 when I did that. It's allowed me to have a 6-figure savings account, which is just so crazy. Pay off a car completely and completely debt-free. I have like, my house isn't completely debt-free, but I'm like saving for my dream home. So I'm not planning on paying this house off because we're going to move soon. But basically, you guys, this business has been an absolute blessing, unreal, literally expected nothing from it. But I got really excited. Like once I just realized what I had my hands on, I was ready to go, So now we're here and it's crazy.
And it's still just freaking awesome. So you know what I love about it is that like when I talk to people that I see having success in the business, there's a few things that always stand out to me. First of all, it's like like we came into this wanting this to work, right? We weren't like, oh, we're going to try to prove this wrong, or we're looking for an excuse not to do this. Like we were looking for something. We were looking for change of some sort. The other thing is I feel like every single person that finds success, and it's like they're excited about everything little. Like you said, like you were excited about a $20 paycheck. You guys, if you're complaining about a $20 paycheck, like, are you going to be happy with a $200 paycheck? Like, is 2000, like, you have to be happy with what you're doing, right? You're trying something brand stinking new. And as you keep adding on to that, you can literally, I mean, you know, Cortney, it's like you can make 6 times that the next month, just doing the same thing that you did the month before, but not only consistently doing it, but also teaching it. You know, and I love that you said that. And it's like, it's crazy because I remember like when I didn't even remember that we were getting a commission check, but my Rap Cash, they were like, Rap everybody, like you will make Rap Cash. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? And my dad's like, do not deposit it. Like you pay cash for your gas, you pay cash for your groceries. And I'm like, this is crazy. And so, you know, same thing. I am a nurse and I loved my job. But you guys, it's funny because I did feel stuck, not because I didn't like my job, but like I was 29 and they were like, hey, you don't get a raise anymore. And I'm like, I'm not even 30. Like, what do you mean? You hit the top of the totem pole, you know? So most people, when you're coming in this, you are looking for something. And I feel like things that I see that are a common theme is we're excited about every single little win. You know, if you're like down on yourself and nothing's ever good enough for you, you're going to have a really hard time because you're not like being excited, which just excites more fire within you to continue to do more, you know? And so that's something that I've watched you do all of this. That's the crazy thing. I've watched you buy your car. I've watched you, you know, share about your gas. And that's the thing. People think that that stuff is so small, but in the big scheme of things, it's those little things that add up that actually allow you to keep that money in your checking or keep that money and move it over to your savings account. And that's what I remember. I'm like, you know, $20, that's $20 you didn't have if you weren't doing this. And the fact that you can grow that is crazy. So, okay. So I know that you, like you said, you lived in a very small town, and that is something I love because I know that there's people on here tonight that are like, I'm only in a town of 5,000 or and I'm like, oh, there's people in way smaller towns than you, you know, and that is the really awesome thing about social media and allowing us to have this outlet to literally build this global business. But again, you have to put yourself out there, right? Just like you were talking about, you have to be consistent. So I know that you have been a social media builder, right? The majority of your business. And so what do you do both Instagram and Facebook, or do you do one more than the other, or where's your kind of like gold mine?
Yeah, so I'm like all completely Instagram just because it keeps me so busy. That's why I literally like, I just don't even think I could control like both Instagram and Facebook. But like for a while I did do both, but once Instagram just took off, that's just where my focus is because it's where I just get the most growth. But like my team, you know, there's some of them that Facebook just does like amazing for them. So from the get-go though, like Instagram just always been my thing.
And when you started, did you have like a ton of followers, or that is something like you've grown?
Yeah, I had no followers. I literally had a new account.
Okay, see, you guys,
so
this is
okay,
and this is what I love. Is because people will be like, I don't have, and I'm like, yeah, you got to grow it. Like, just like every single one of us. And so when I started Instagram, like I didn't even know what that was. And that's where I mostly build as well, just because I love the vibe of it. A lot of the things that people share on there, that those are my interests. And so I kind of switched over, but I only had Facebook, and I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I literally posted on Facebook once, maybe like every 20 days before I started this business. So you guys, like, don't be shy in going full bore with your social media. Like it was new to all of us, but the more you do it, the more that you learn. And as you hop on these things, like Cortney said, we used to have to dial in. We couldn't see pretty faces and like talk to people and all that kind of stuff. Like it was old, you guys. We had an old system, everything. Like it's crazy to see what they've all like come around and done. So you do mostly Instagram. So what does a normal day look like for you when it comes to tasks that you do that are like your non-negotiables? Like this is what you are going to do every single day because this is your job, and you know that it brings production for you. Like it helps you enroll customers. It helps you enroll distributors.
Okay, yeah. So I actually have a 6 list, and this is like the 6 things I do every single day, have done from pretty much day one. And so Number one is growing my network. So every single day I'm getting new people watching me. I'm going and I'm following people, and then when I follow them, I go through. So number two is like interacting. I make sure and I just go and compliment people on their pictures, because whenever you start interacting on their pictures, like at first I would just follow people and I wouldn't do that. And a lot of them wouldn't follow me back. But as soon as you start complimenting people, they're like, who's this girl? Like, that's so nice, and they're going to give you a follow back. So compliment them just like on a couple pictures, and a lot of them are going to follow you back. And then as far as like how many people I follow, who I follow, and stuff like that, I try to follow just girls that are like over the age of 18. What I usually do is like I'll just go through my feed and like I'll find a nice page, and I'll go to their most recent picture and I click on their likes. And so the reason I do this is because their most recent picture and the likes that they have, that means like those are probably active people on social media as of like right now. So I go through those likes, and I just like any pictures that kind of just like catch my eye, or like girls that I just look over the age of 18, I'll just give them a follow. So that's what I like to do there. And then once they like accept that, I'll go through and I'll like compliment them on like a picture or two. So those are two. And then three is messaging. So I like promotion month, I definitely do reach out and I message people, but a lot of people actually message me. So I don't like, I think this is important if you don't have anybody messaging or reaching out. I do think it is important to like reach out to people and just like build that relationship with them, and, making sure that you're building those leads. But like as of now, because I did that, I have people reaching out to me all the time just from watching my social media. So I do message like during promotion months and stuff, but I do have a lot of people that message me, so that keeps me pretty busy. And then my next one is posting every single day. So I try to post at least once on my feed every single day. That's like my goal. And it's just usually like a nice, like eye-catching picture. So like just a good quality picture is like my goal. And if you look at my feed, you're not even gonna like, the first thing you're gonna notice is you're not gonna think I'm like with a company or anything. You're not even gonna know I'm with ItWorks. You're just gonna think I'm like, I don't know, a girl. And I don't know. It's just me basically, and the things I love on my social media platform. And so like that, I like to do that to just keep it super personal, and just to keep people, not thinking that the first thing they see on my page is just, like black and green and bling. Like you want to stay away from that. So just a nice eye-catching picture once a day. And then Instagram story, if you follow me, I blow that up all day, every day, all day long. I post a lot of like my before and after pictures on there, but I also post a lot of other things. And this is like one of the biggest things that I can probably share of like how I've been able to grow my Instagram, is posting things outside of this business. And so I think that we all just like need to think of, or like what I like to think of is, who are those people that you catch yourself looking at daily? Because I know for me, like at nighttime, like right before bed, I'm laying there and I'm going to the same profiles every single day, and I'm looking at these people. I don't even know these people. They're just people that draw me into their profile. And so I'm just literally just interested into their life for some reason, like something about them's pulling me in. And so what I like to do is I like to ask myself, what is it that's pulling me in to these people? And how can I kind of put that into my own life? And how can I, do that to other people? And so if you follow me, I love like makeup, I love like fashion and stuff like that, and like positivity. So you're going to see me share like a lot of quotes on my stories. You're going to see me share like a new makeup product, or like it could literally be anything, like a new chapstick I got. Like it's just anything basically outside of this business. And if you're like thinking, well, I'm not into any of that stuff, find something that you're into, even if it's like a mom tip. If it's like you're organizing like a closet, like show your organization. I think it's just showing like something outside of the business to show them, like to give them something to like come back for. Because I feel like a lot of times people like they come to your profile because you're drawing them in for some reason, and it might not be this business or the products that first, and they might not be interested in that. So I think like my page, they still see like fashion and stuff like that. So that's what'll kind of draw them in at first. But then like we'll be messaging about that, and then they'll be like, hey, can you also tell me about like the keto coffee? Like how have you been able to lose weight? So I can't tell you how many times I have conversations about something totally different, and it just turns into the business because of that. And so it's just a really easy way to like transition the conversation into like the business or the products or like the opportunities. So just posting literally just anything outside of that, whether it's quotes, anything that you're into, literally could be anything. Like the other day, I literally was watching this girl's grocery haul. I'm not even kidding. She did a live video, and it was like 30 minutes. Probably would never buy anything that she even had in her grocery haul, but I'm just like sitting there and I'm like, what am I doing? But it's literally just like people want to see what other people are doing with their lives, and they're just interested in that. So don't be afraid or be like, oh, well, I don't do anything fun. Like I literally do nothing, guys. Like I hang out at my house with my dogs all day long. Like I don't do any, so don't feel that way. So just go out there and just like kind of show like what you're doing on the daily, like who you are as a person behind the screen, because who you are is why someone's going to be drawn into you. That's why they're going to reach out to you. That's why they're going to trust you to purchase products from you. That's why they're going to want to join your team, because they see who you are behind your profile. And I think that's one of like the biggest things, especially through social media, that you just want to portray that. My next one is following up. So definitely key. I always tell my team, like, if I didn't have a follow-up list, I would not have a business, because if I don't follow up, people aren't going to enroll, you know, like it's just the fortune is in the follow-up. And I know you hear that probably all the time, but it's just so much truth to it. So every single day, what I do is at the end of night, or at nighttime, what I do before bed is I sit down, and I always get people like on text message when they're ready to like talk about the business or the products. And so I go through my text messages starting from the morning, and I just scroll my way up and I write down every single person, just because I don't carry like my notebook with me everywhere. So it's just an easy way for me to keep track. So just making sure you are keeping track of who you're talking to on a daily basis, because you just want to stay on those people, because you're going to miss out on so many people if you don't do that. And if you don't enroll them, somebody else will, who is going to be consistent and follow up. So you just want to be that person. And then my last one is self-development. I never did self-development before this business, never knew what it was, but now I'm like, as soon as I have children that can like understand those things, I'm gonna be like getting them on some self-development, or just like talking them up from like just things that I've learned from this business. And I just have realized like how important that is. And I do think that this business, you know, it is a lot of work, but like it's so much belief. And if you don't have that belief there, and if your mind's not in a good place, your business is not going to be in a good place. So just making sure you are taking time to grow your, you know, your mind, and being in a good position where you do want to do that, you know. And so those are like my 6 every single day I do. Don't go to sleep until it happens.
Those are like non-negotiables. And that's what I love about it, is like, I just tell people, I'm like, if you can make a list, you don't get so sidetracked. And so that is like something like you know, sometimes people will say, my husband's mad I'm on my phone. I'm like, you know what? Like Kevin knows, like if I'm on my phone, it's legit because I'm working, you know, unless like you said, Courtney, like he kind of goes to bed a little bit earlier than me, but then I maybe go through and I scroll and I find the things that interest me, right? Because I'm like, okay, I got my things done, I'm working. But the thing is like, you do have to have a list, you guys. And even if you're working full time, like she started this and she was going to school full time, right? I started and I was a brand new mom and I was working full time. But the thing is like, even if you rotated Courtney 6, right? So those are a lot of that. You'll see that. I think that's also a very common thing, right? And I love that the first thing you said is growing your network. You guys, like, you cannot miss that. I'm going to tell you that, like, if there's something where I feel like something's lagging, or I'm not getting a lot of responses on my polls or in my Instagram stories, and I'm kind of looking and I'm like, well, it's because you haven't been doing a good job, like, following new people. Like, you don't have new eyes on your stuff. And you guys, you are going to feel that. So like, if you've been kind of shy about that, or you're like, oh, I think it's weird, you guys, it's not weird. Like, people follow me all the time, and not once am I like, who the heck is that? I'm like, I hope I have something to offer her, or I hope I inspire her, or whatever it may be, you know? So I love that you talked about those. And I think that's the thing, like, we don't need to overcomplicate it. Like, that 6 never, ever changes. It's just having the discipline to consistently do those things. And so I do want to answer, this question was pretty good. She said, what do you do when you're posting consistently, but you're not getting any responses?
Yeah, so definitely if I don't feel like I'm getting anything, like I'm going to make sure to take the initiative to like start reaching out to people, just because I do want to be growing those relationships. And I love Instagram stories for that, because I think it's a very easy way to like go and start like building those conversations just by going through and watching stories, and just start commenting on people's stories, you guys. Like, start getting some conversations flowing. But that, and then just make sure you are growing your network. And I'm the same exact way. If I ever feel like I'm like, what is like going on? You know, like no one's talking to me. It is because I haven't been doing that list. And like, that's what, anytime my team comes to me and they're like, all right, Courtney, like I'm working so hard. I'm like, okay, what are you doing exactly? Like, walk me through your day. Are you following each of these steps? Because if you just miss out like on one of these, it is going to affect your business. So just make sure you're actually being intentional about what you're doing, and you're actually following those lists. I think sometimes we like have in our mind, we're like, we've been working so hard, but like, are you actually being intentional about it? And are you actually doing it? And how many people are you actually reaching out to? Because it is just such a large numbers game. And so if, you know, I'll have people that are like, well, no one messaged me back, I must just be terrible at this business. I'm like, all right, how many people did you message? I reached out to 2 people. I'm like, well, that's your problem. Like, let's reach out to a lot more. So just keep in mind that it is like a business, and you do have to treat it like a business if you want, you know, those results. And so just make sure you are being super persistent about it, and just having, I think, that goal in mind what you want, because if you don't know exactly what you want, it's really hard to like be intentional and go out there and like work for it. But as soon as you have that goal down to like a T of what you want and what you need to make it happen, I think it just makes it that much easier to go out there and just like do it, because you're like, okay, this is my goal, this is what I need, like let's do the thing, you know?
Yeah, like your goal is what's going to inspire you and keep you motivated. So I would say, like, if you're not motivated, it's like you got to get a new goal, or you have to make it way more specific, or give it some sort of value. And you guys, again, like when I started, I didn't know that well, first of all, I definitely didn't know this could be a career. I thought to myself, like, if I make $500 a month by the end of a year, like I literally thought I was killing it, right? And you guys are going to laugh because that's Ruby, right? But I still, like, if I was a Ruby, I would still be here because that was my original goal, you know? And so it's crazy because I think, but the thing is like that $500 meant a nursing shift that I could say, like, if we were low census, I could stay home with my kids, you know, because before I was like, I gotta go. Like my family counts on that money. I don't want to be out that money. But then if I could do that from home, I'm like, I can stay home and actually like, you know, say where I want to put my time instead of being like, oh, I have to go do this, which is so awesome. It's just getting some of those small choices. And as soon as you get that, it's like, okay, now I want even more choices. Like I want the bigger choices that you can get. So, okay, we have so many people, obviously same probably with your team with the $20 coupon codes, which are so freaking amazing because people are already just starting out ahead because they have all these products. So here's the thing, and I'm sure you felt this too, but you know, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I should talk about the business because I just started, or I wouldn't know how to help somebody. And I always tell people, I'm like, you know what's crazy is that me enrolling my first 2 distributors honestly changed everything for me, because I realized 2 people trusted me and I was like, I want their goals and I'm not playing small with their goals. And that is something that was been such a blessing to me in this business, is like, you know, I could have been like, oh, nah, like with my own goals. And it's a lot easier to quit on yourself, but it's not easy to quit on other people that have put trust into you. So I always tell people, I'm like, no, actually, like, go get that first person. Like, it's going to make you step up to the plate and actually learn things instead of just thinking, oh, I'm going to go to Sarah or I'm going to go to Cortney. She'll tell me, you know, you have to learn it because now you're going to be telling somebody that. So tell them what you do to help your new DTs to get started. So if you sign somebody up, like, what are your steps to get them off and going?
Yeah, so it's so funny too. I remember you guys when I first started, and Ashley told me, she's like, all right, like you got your customers, like let's start building your team. And I was like, what? Like I have to, people have to join my team. Like I was like, no one's ever gonna join my team, but like I trust you, Ashley, so I'm gonna just do what you're doing and we're gonna just see. So I went out there, and once you just get that one person, you guys, it is the best feeling in the world, because you're like, I did it. And like if you can enroll one person, you can enroll endless amounts of people. So just go get your one. And once you get that one, know that it's just, you can enroll so many people. And it's just so much more fun too, like when you get people involved, because you're like not alone, like you get to like help them and you talk to them and figure out why they want this. And I think that's something so like that you realize so much, like when you join, is you join for yourself originally, but then like someone joins your team and they tell you why they need this business, and it gives you a whole another meaning. And that is just, it's the best feeling in the entire world, especially when you actually watch, you know, what they want become their reality. It's so crazy. So I have like a new distributor training. It's like the same every single time. And it's like a walkthrough that I just go through on my phone every time. But basically when I get them started, I'm like, I'm so excited to have you, you know. Basically I want you to blow my phone up with questions, because it's going to be the only way to learn. And so my goal when I first get someone started is, I remember when I first started, I was super overwhelmed with just like all kinds of information. I was tagged in a million things. So I just try to keep it super simple for people. I'm like, look, I'm just going to walk you through. I'm going to go at your pace. So if you're ready to run, I'm going to run with you. If you know, I'm just going to go at your pace. So basically I just walk them through it. So I do have a new distributor training video on our team page that I have them watch. So I do have them do that. But then once they do that, I just go straight to like one goal at a time. I just literally walk them through that. So I'm like, all right, let's make your dirt list. And so, you know, if you're selling dirt, who's going to buy it from you because you're you and they love you. And so make that list, just think of everyone. And I just always tell people, like, don't count anybody out, because that was my problem when I started, you guys. I didn't want to start with the people I knew, and that bit me in the butt. And that's why I had a pretty slow start at first. And then as soon as I got over that, that's when things started to really pick up and just grow. And so just like, let's make this list, think of as many people as you can. And I send them a message to send out to all of these people. Since they do have the $20 codes right now, I'm like, okay, who's who else do you know in your life right now that can use an extra $500? I was like, let's go get them started with you right now, because it's gonna be a lot more fun for them to do it alongside you, and you guys are just gonna be able to learn to do this together. And as soon as you have that one person, like, it's just gonna be so much easier to get more and more. So basically just walk them through. But I think the biggest thing for me is just literally helping them get set up, like within those first few days. I help them set up their first post, and I go over, why do we post? Why is it important? That stuff. And then like sending them a message to send out to their friends and family, walking them through those conversations so they just get comfortable with it. Because I think it's just a matter of them, like, we join and we're like, what do we do? Like, what do we say? And then you want to send them like an entire book. And so I'm sure you guys have like a message or whatever that works well for you. And so just being able to be there for them and help them get off to that good start is just going to help them get off like really good. So I always say I kind of baby them. Like those first few days, especially, I'm just like, okay, let's get started on this. And it's just like a one goal at a time kind of thing. But what I like to do along that way is like, I make a huge deal about everything that they do. So when they enroll that first customer, I send them like 5 gifs, I don't know how you say it. And I'm like, that's so awesome. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I literally make them feel like they just won the lottery from like enrolling a person, or they're like, I made my first post. I'm like, yes. Like, I just basically pump them up so hard. And like, we'll go shout them on my team page, just make them feel so good, because people love that. They, I just remember like just being welcome to my team page, and people were like welcoming me. And I was like, that's so nice. Like, and so just go out there and make them feel special and good, and just figure out what they really want out of this business, and just be like a friend to them, but take it just like a step at a time and a goal at a time with them. But people, I feel like you kind of get a hang of like people that join and like, okay, like I'm ready to go, like teach me. And then you're going to get those people that are like, they're just kind of off to a slow start. So just kind of go off the vibe, like kind of figure out what they want exactly, and then go from there. But yeah, basically I just walk them through those first few things, give them their first post, give them those, or like help them with their first post, help them with those messages. And then once we go through all of that and we get their first 4 customers, I automatically give them a Ruby chart. I have a Ruby video that I send them, and I'm like, okay, this is how you go Ruby. Then I start going over, this is how you're going to grow your team type of thing. But with the $20 codes right now, it has been a little different, just because I do want them to use those codes. So I've, been trying to have them reach out pretty quickly once they get going.
Yes. And I love that, because I think sometimes people, well, first of all, it's like we ask why they're starting. I think that's super important. Like if you're not asking your team that, you guys, it's really hard to show them a Ruby map. Or if like somebody tells Courtney, like, I want $900 a month, or I want it to cover my rent. Okay, what's your rent? Like whatever it may be. And so it's like, once you figure that out, it's like you could, if you just said, hey, this is what Emerald looks like, that's not going to mean anything to them. But if they're like, hey, Courtney's giving this map of value, it's like, you guys, how amazing is it to be like, this is literally how you get there. Like not every business has that. And I feel like that's, again, is something that really helps. Like you don't have to know anything. Like if you can read and you can listen and you can put out what people are telling you to do, so you're coachable, like you can freaking do this, and that's the thing, because you didn't even have an Instagram. I didn't have an Instagram either. And here we both are building solely off of Instagram, so you guys, we've learned all of those things, and then really getting in there and setting expectations. Like I love that. I tell them like same thing. Like I want to hear from you every single day. Like if this is your goal in this amount of time, I should be hearing from you every day. So that way they know those types of things. Like I tell them, I want to help you. As soon as you make that first post, tell me. I'm going to go be the first one to comment on it. And then I'm going to tell you, as people comment, this is what we're going to do, and walk them through some of those. I'm sure, like you said, like you walk them through conversations, but it's like, if you can even walk them through to where they are the ones actually getting their first win or their first LC or their first DT, it's like they're empowered to know, like you just said, I can get a second LC, I can get a second DT. And that's literally what we've all done. We didn't have somebody walk in and be like, Courtney, here's your 60 customers and you just got your car bonus, right? Like you went in and you got your customers, and now like, hey, like that's awesome, because I know if I can do this, like, why can't I double this, So I love that. And so just have a system, you guys. And I think the same thing, keep it simple, make sure you have your expectations. I think sometimes, like, I remember I'm not like what would you say your personality is? Color?
Yellow, probably. I think it's
okay, so yellow is like you love people, you're so nice all the time. So yeah, I mean, I have like a little red in me, but I'm definitely green. Like I like details. And then yes, there's yellow. So I feel like sometimes in the beginning, you guys, I would know like what I would want for that person or know what they were worth doing in this business, but I kind of like walked on eggshells because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or make them upset or any of those things. You guys, I kind of realized like that was doing them a disservice. Like actually getting in there with them and being like, hey, like I haven't seen you post and you have this goal. Like I know it still means just as much to you. Like let's get going. Like what do you need help with, or what all of a sudden scared you off, or whatever it is. So you guys, it's okay to poke your head in there and like say something to be like, hey, where are you at? You know, because the truth is at the end of the day, if I wasn't doing that, then people walked away. I've learned that if I do kind of step in and I'm like, hey, like if something threw you off because somebody shared something with you, like I'm going to share why I believe in you. And then people really step up and start going. So that's another thing I just want to tell you guys. Like you guys, remember those flood of emotions where you're like, I always laugh because I'm like, some days all of a sudden you have like 6, comments, or you have all these messages and people are going to sign up and they have their dates, and then the dates come and like they don't sign up, right? We all have that. And then you're like, this is the worst day ever. And you go from like this high to this low to this high to this low. And I'm like, that's just normal. Like the same stuff happens to me, and I'm sure the same stuff, not everybody that you enroll just takes off, And so I try to tell people that I'm like, that's not your choice. Like that's theirs. And your job is just to keep bringing new people and helping them and showing them the vision. If they take it, that's their choice, right? So I love that you talked about that. So this is the other thing. Obviously, what's so funny is like, I feel like becoming a mom made me super bold. Like I still was bold, but like I felt like there was something that I was like, oh, I just want my time. So some of you younger girls that have gotten in, I'm like, God, I'm so proud that they have this amazing vision. And so, you are leading a huge, huge team, which is so awesome. Your team is having so much success. There's all age groups, just like everybody. And that's one thing I love about this business is it just doesn't discriminate. And like you said, it's like, you guys honestly take all judgment aside. Like our job is just to share. And from there, they get to decide for themselves if it's for them or not for them. Because I did the same thing. Like I would look at this outside picture and I'm like, there's no way. Like they have, whatever they need. It's like, you actually have no idea, like where people want to spend their time, or a lot of things like I've just seen, it's like they may have the finances, but they don't have the freedom, or maybe they have the freedom, but then it really cut them short on finances. And so here with ItWorks, it's like, you can actually have both. And I think that's insanely amazing. And that's the life-changing part of this opportunity. So what is your best advice? Like if you were going to tell somebody, how do you feel like you best lead your team so that they are taking action, and I think sometimes people think it's like what you're going to say or, something like that. But we also know that there's a lot more to it. So what do you feel like is the best way that you lead your team?
So I would say, I am definitely like a yellow, but I'm a mixture. So like I like to love on people, but I also do like to just be like kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of direct sometimes too. I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this. But I just feel like being like real with people from the get-go is super good. So instead of being like I just like to tell people, I'm like, okay, like, if you make your first post, you don't get anything from it, I was like, don't let that like get you down or anything, because it's just a huge consistency thing. So I constantly like to tell people like, when you do this, don't get discouraged if this happens, because a lot of people just let those small things like take control like right off like the get-go, like I remember making my first post and getting like, like no likes and be like, oh wow, like is this a mistake or whatever. Or just like if they have someone say something negative, I literally will just tell them like, look, you're not gonna have everyone just support you from the get-go. So just being kind of like upfront with them from the get-go, but also letting them know like you have to go into this with like a business mindset and know that this is a legit business. So if you really do want to have results from it, like you have to look at it like that and make sure you are being consistent and doing all of these things. But I would say the best way I lead my team is definitely like, I'm a huge lover, like making them feel good and stuff, but I think I just really like to like build that relationship and like really put that belief in them. I think I'm just constantly talking people up, like making them feel good. Like that's my thing, is I want them to feel good and special. And something I think my entire team's pretty good at that. Like our team page is just full of just shout outs all day long and just making people feel like good and special. We're all just like very positive people for the most part. And so that's like my biggest thing, I think, is just making people feel special and letting them know like, you are worthy of this and like you can have this business. But so just like, pouring into them that way, and then just giving them like tough love when they need it. But honestly, just like walking them through, I think like the best thing to do is just, they kind of catch on to like my momentum. So always like leading from the front. I'm never gonna tell my team to do something that I'm not doing every single day. And so make sure you're leading from the front and you're doing the things that you are sharing with your team to do. And I think that's always like, you know, number one, you know, if you're telling them to do this, you better make sure that you're doing that as well. So leading from the front and then just like talking them up, cheering them up, but then also knowing like at the end of the day that this business isn't for everybody. And if somebody doesn't want it for themselves, you know, you don't let that discourage you or get you down. Sorry, I can't ever talk. And so I don't know. I would say that's probably like my best thing is just leading from the front for sure. And just making people feel good and letting them know like where they can take this. And don't be afraid to like, you know, give them that tough love when they need it. Give them that, you know, help them figure out what their vision is and figure out what their goal is. But really, I think just like kind of walking them through it at first is so big.
Yeah, so they can catch that vision. And so you kind of more so, do you feel like you more so have, I feel like sometimes people think like, oh my gosh, I have to do this training with each single person, but you more so do videos as well. So you can kind of refer back. And I tell people that I say, because if you want to be able to go fast, which obviously we do know this business loves speed. Do you have to? No. And like you said, you know what? It might have taken you 9 months to go diamond, but here you are as a number 5 income earner. You know what? I went diamond in 3 months, you know, and what I don't even know, my number was like 63 or something like that. But everybody's journey is different. You know what I'm saying? And so I always tell people, I'm like, if you miss a bonus, like who cares, you know? But the thing is I always think like if we can kind of have this system and you kind of get this system in place and you have the resources, which I know your team page does, our team page does too. It's like, use those. Don't try to constantly recreate, you know, what's already there. And so, and I think even more so after this year at conference, it's like we have so many resources, like even compared to what you and I had when we started. Like we didn't have podcasts. I mean, we didn't have, you know, we had a wrap shortage. We didn't have these things like even keto coffee or anything like that. So it's so awesome to see what everybody has. So if there's one thing that you would tell yourself now, like what is one thing that you wish you would have known in the beginning? Because we have so many new people on here. And I just like, that's like one of my favorite things to always ask.
Yeah, definitely. I think just like knowing what you have your hands on going into it and like know that like you have to like just grab onto it. And like, even if you're scared to go out there and share it, just do it anyways, because it's going to be so worth it. Because that is why, you know, like I probably could have went diamond so much quicker and grown a lot faster in the beginning, but like I was so scared. Like I just had so much fears instilled in me. And like, you know, I was just trying to do like my own thing. Like, you know, my enroller was like, go talk to people, go tell people you know about it. And I was like, no, like I didn't want to get out of my comfort zone. As soon as you get out of that comfort zone, you guys, that's when you're going to just see things blow up for you. And so definitely just be confident in what you have your hands on and know that it's so special. And especially with the momentum that we have right now is just everything. So grab onto it and run. That, and then just having like, figure out what you want down to like a T. There was like this thing that Pam was saying one time, and she was like saying how like just figure out what you want and then like think about it in such little detail, like down to like the smallest detail. So if you're wanting, you know, if it's something small, just like write that down and write it down. Write every single thing down that you want in your goals and write it down every single day if you need to, just so you're seeing it constantly. And like it's just crazy like how you, when you just start putting it out there, how it happens. But I would say, yeah, just having that, like knowing what you have your hands on is just so special, and not to be afraid to just go and share that with everybody. Because as soon as you do, things are just going to get crazy.
And that's the funny thing is like excitement sells more than anything else. Or like if you know where you're going, people want to like know that. And if it doesn't even matter how long it's going to take you to get there, like who freaking cares? But if you're talking about that, like that's the thing that people are like, I want to do that, you know? And so that's the part of it that I always tell people, I'm like, you don't need a story to get started. None of us had that, you know, but I did talk about why I started. I talked about what I wanted to do with it. You know, every little win, just like you said, like I shared all those things, weekly bonuses. Like who the heck doesn't want to get paid weekly? You guys, even now as a number 5 income earner, do you not love weekly bonuses? Like it never gets old.
No,
you know?
yeah. I remember at first too, like those weekly bonuses were like paying me more than just like my job that I was driving to, making like minimum wage at the time. Like those were life changing. I think that's something too, is like those small things are so big to people. Like those things were huge to me when I started. Like $20. So many people look at $20 like really $20, but like I was excited about that because like that was really big to me. So even if it's like you're like, well, who's going to care about that? Like, don't think that, because so many people actually do care about that. And that is like a huge deal to them. And I also think it's a lot more realistic, because people, like, I just always tell my team, I'm like, well, I didn't buy a car. I didn't go buy a house. And it's like, that's not relatable to people whatsoever. What's relatable is your extra $100 a week that you're making. You know, that's so much more relatable than something big. People think that's just, you know, they're skeptical when they see that stuff. So be proud of those small wins. And I think like those small things are what make the big things so exciting when you get there. And especially when people watch you, they're like, that's so crazy. Like, she started with like paying, you know, for gas or groceries, and then now she's doing this. Like, that's so inspiring to people, and they're watching your journey. And the more they watch that, is the more inspired they're going to become. They're like, okay, she can do this. Like, I can do this too.
Yes, I love that. And so, okay, what would be your last piece of advice? So for anyone that is wanting to go diamond, so diamond, everyone has their eye on it. Not only is there rank up bonuses, but then you get the extra, well, what are they called now? Leadership bonuses, or they used to be called CADs. I still call them that. Sorry guys, I'm old school. But, you know, and I tell people, I'm like, it's like the same volume, same things you're doing, except for you get paid again on it, you know? And so there's so many people that have that. So what would be your piece of advice to tell somebody, okay, if you are gunning for diamond or any of those rank up bonuses, and it's what, the 14th of the month, like, what is your best piece of advice to get them to go for that?
Yeah, so definitely having that plan and action, like knowing what you need down to a T. I always tell my team, like, promotions don't ever just fall into place. Like, you have to have that plan, and you have to know exactly what you need. And I like to compare it to, like, you know, like, say that you're trying to lose 10 pounds, right? If you're trying to lose 10 pounds and you have the number 10 in your mind, you're more likely to work towards that goal, because you know exactly what you're working towards and what you want to do. And so when you have 10 in mind, you're like, okay, you know, I've lost 5 so far, 5 more to go. And so knowing what you need to a T, because when you have exactly what you need, it's just a lot easier to like work towards that and just be able to like really focus on that. And so knowing what you need, and also having it like in front of you where you see it every single day. Like, every month that I know I'm going for a promotion, I have my charts in a place, and I have my volumes exactly where I need them. And I just know, you know, down to a T of what I need, and I'm so focused. And I just always like to tell my team this, because I think it's just so true, is when you're going for a promotion, you just have to truly believe it. Like, there's so many times, like, I've been going for a promotion, I'm like, okay, I don't know how it's going to happen this month, because it's very far off, but like, it's happening. And I don't care. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I have to stay up for the rest of the month, whatever I have to do, like, it's happening. And so just continuously like say that, and, you know, truly believe that it is going to happen, and you have to want it if you want it to happen. So that, and then, I was going to say something else too, but I forgot. So know what you need. There was something else too I wanted to, like, things will try to go against you. Like, I feel like every time in a promotion month, everything will try to stop you. Like, things that it like literally makes me kind of like laugh when it happens, because I'm like, this is so crazy this is happening, because I know why it's happening. Because when something really big is about to happen, like, the things that try to stop you will literally just like stop you in your tracks, and like, it's either gonna like stop you and just like keep you from doing it, or you're just gonna push past it. And once you hit it, it just makes it that much more worth it, because you know what you had to do to get there. And so know that things are gonna happen throughout the month, and they're gonna try to stop you, and you're gonna feel discouraged. You're probably gonna cry a million times, but it's fine, because when you hit it, you're gonna be the happiest person ever, and you're gonna be able to celebrate that. And hard work, you know, that hard work is what makes something so worth it in the long run. So it's definitely going to be, you know, something to celebrate at the end. And so just keep your eye on what you want, and don't let anything pass that. Don't let any of the negative thoughts, because they will be there to try to stop you. Don't let them get in the way. You have to show them like you're doing it no matter what. And if you just truly believe that, it's just crazy. Like, the universe will start to bring you the people. Like, it's weird. It's actually weird. Like, when you're just so focused, how it just starts coming together, and you're like, how is this happening? Like, I don't even know. It's just so crazy. But yes, just know what you need.
And when you look back, you're like, I don't know how that happened. Like, I don't know. Other than that, we did the same thing. Like you said, I spoke life into people. You know, it's just like, and that's the one thing too, I always tell people, I'm like, people don't just know what to do. And I think it's hard for us to, or it's easy for us to forget that, because in the beginning, but I'm like, hey, remember how many questions you had, or how many conversations? Like, it's okay to do that with people, but it's so true. When there's good things happening, I'm like, the devil is at work. Like, all of a sudden your air conditioner breaks down. Both your kids get the flu. They're home with me. Like, that's not what my goal is to have my kids home for 2 weeks, you know, while you're having this promotion month. But that's the crap that just happens. And like you said, it almost gets comical, but then I look at my house and I'm like, it's a disaster. I maybe haven't showered and I don't even know when. And honestly, I don't care, because at the end of the day, when you look back, you're like, you just think like, oh my gosh, I still did that no matter what things were happening. And I think when you guys realize like you can do this business and succeed forward in this business with life happening, really like not much can stop you, you know, because I think people think there's perfect time, or, I mean, if we're going to be here for 20 years, like that's just part of it. Like life will happen no matter what, you know? And so I always tell people like, it's kind of nice that I have been here for 7 years, because I'm like, I've had babies, we've moved, I've had a wedding. Like I get those things, and it just, none of that stops you unless you let it, like you said. So, gosh, there was one thing I was just gonna, you just brought it up and I thought about, oh, somebody was asking on here, how much is the most volume you've had to fill in 1 month? I am guessing that that is for a promotion.
Yeah. What is it? I think when I was going ambassador, I'm not even like, been like the last week I had like still like over 7,000. It may have been like a few days left and I had like 7,000 left to fill. And I was like, how is this happening? Also, like my presidential for 2.0 wasn't as bad, but my triple for 2.0 was like crazy. Like it was kind of like within the last 2 weeks of the month, I decided I was going to like make it happen. And like, I truly decided, I don't know what it was about the promotion, but I had a lot of volume. I think it was probably like over 5,000 within those last, I don't know. I think it was actually more than that, honestly. It was a lot of volume, basically a lot. And I was like crying, and I was being a psycho to Brandon. It was fine. He's learned now, but yeah, no, it is. It's crazy, but like, it's also just so crazy how it like starts to come together. And like, I always like to like remind my team, I'm like, look what's about to happen for you when you hit this promotion. Like, keep that in mind. Like, this isn't normal. Like, that's my favorite thing about this business, you guys, is like, it's not normal. And that's why people get so skeptical about it, because it allows so many people to do things that aren't the norm these days, you know? Like, I started at 19, and, you know, just the things that, you know, even like at a young age right now, it's just allowing us to set ourselves up for something so much like bigger than we would have just, you know, if I did get into nursing. And like, I don't know, it's just so crazy. So just know like what you have your hands on, and it is going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be so worth it. And just think about where it can take you. And like, you know, what we have here is just so special. And Mark always says it's like rare air. And I truly believe that 100%. So it's going to be a lot of work, but like, it's fun, and have fun with it. And if you just believe in yourself and have that belief that you're going to do it, like it just comes together, and it is so rewarding.
Yes, it is. It's like the best thing. I always say, I'm like, I don't know what made me do it, but I'm so freaking glad that I did it. That's all I know. So thank you so much for spending the last almost an hour, 50 minutes with us. I'm sure people were taking just a bunch of notes and soaking it all in. And thank you for always just leading the way. Like, you're just a great example, and I love that about you. So we appreciate you so much, and for coming to spend the night. And you kind of did it on short notice, so I love you even more for that.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I hope I shared something helpful. So
you did. So I hope you have an awesome night, and hopefully, is it snowing still where you are?
Oh my gosh, no, it's like 50s today finally.
Oh, good.
It's raining, so
yeah, but it's raining.
Yeah, it's bipolar, but hopefully soon we'll get some warm weather.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Cortney.
All right. Thank y'all.
Bye.